Good morning. The president suspended the humanitarian investment programs. What is the implication of such?
Good morning, Mr. Chigoze. It's good to be back on your platform. And yeah, and if you're watching, do subscribe and follow us. I think it's a welcome idea. I mean, this is a man who is less than 1 year in his administration, and we can see him, wielding that stick of sanctions on an inefficient and ministers who are going out there to show tendencies of malfeasance, financial irresponsibility. And to be specific here, Betadu, who was the face of the women in APC, was culpable of misappropriating on over $500 million. And this president, knowing fully how resourceful she was during the campaign period, didn't allow that to becloud his judgment. He didn't allow that to becloud or to distort his government. He has beaten the bullet because he has suspended her, and I think many people are now beginning to trust, even you, because I think you are now beginning to take this man seriously. For him to be frowning against any iota of corruption. Yes.
No, beyond mere rhetoric, we are yet to see his seriousness and commitment to the fight against corruption.
No. Hold on, come on.
Office public holders have been.
I think you should.
But at the end of the day, we never heard anything.
I think you should understand that over 30-something billion has been recovered from the former, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Farouk. I can't recall her name. I mean, this is something we never saw under the past administration. Unfortunately,
has been recovered. Or
was
alleged to have
no, it has been recovered. No, it has been recovered. We still have about 7 billion yet to be recovered. And we saw how this administration called out the then minister under Obasanjo that took away $16 billion. $16 billion today is equal to 16 trillion naira. We can see that this administration is probing that man, Ajuloye, that Ogada Mabila power project money that you stole, give us our money back. We understand we might not be able to recover 100%, but I mean, if we recover 50 to 60%, I think it's a good show of responsibility by the president, current president administration. Don't get me wrong. I understand many people will still under this same administration. So, he has been probing the past. We saw what happened to Emefiele. We saw what happened to Ajiloye. I am still awaiting this man to call out Zainab Ahmed, who was a former minister of finance. But I think the height of it all will be when he start calling out the former president, which I think no president will have that audacity to do that, because it has shamefully become a culture in Nigeria that nobody has that, willpower to call ex-presidents. We saw it under Yaradua. We saw it under Jonathan. The person whom we all expected to do it, a general, a man who has been to the war, who has seen, who has conquered, who has got shot. He didn't have the willpower to call our past president into probity. So for me, I don't think he can. I think no. I think he won't be able to do that. But I think we'll be able to call out the ex-president's new lieutenants, irrespective of which party they belong to, because evidently we can see he's calling out people who work with APC in the last administration. But at the same time, in this current administration, we the citizens must endeavor to all ways at every point in time play our role by calling out any evidence where we see a minister is trying to be corrupt. We must call it out, and we must see that response from the president.
If the former presidents are indicted, could it mean that they are above the law? If the law will not take its course?
Unfortunately, I think they are above the law. I must be sincere with you. I think these past presidents enjoy even past post administration immunity, because I mean we have not seen any president. We started from a general right down to the last administration, a general who couldn't call out even the civilian president. We know what happened under Jonathan era. It was under Jonathan, so over 20 billion overnight got missing in the CBN. And when Buhari came on board, he didn't find it deemed to call out Jonathan and probe him.
Now, the suspension of this social program,
Yeah.
which has direct impact on the masses, is it the best decision for him to have taken, suspending it in total, both the Empower and other social investment programs, which would have cushioned the effects of the economic mishaps on the Nigerians? Is it a well thought idea by the president?
I think the suspension came right, came right on time. It's a suspension. It is not, a final termination. It is being suspended so that the financial architecture can be reformed. Let me tell you that the humanitarian affairs, or should we call it the social investment programs, was what the Western world deployed to become so data sensitive. The humanitarian affairs ministry still leads the charge in data collection because it serves as an incentive for people to bring their information on board. If you have someone in the village, who understands that you'll be given 5,000 naira, so to say the least, or 10,000 naira, as the case may be, all we need you to do is provide your NIN. If you don't have an NIN, there has to be a means provided by the government. And you see that with immediacy they will go and enroll for the NIN, and then they will be brought on board into the national register. And from that, so if this current administration suspends, and if they restate after 6 weeks and they don't try any way to digitize the process, I think they are just deceiving us. Because as long as we are aware, the humanitarian affairs ministry deals with money. They deal with cash. They withdraw cash and then go and give cash to people, and I don't think that's sustainable. Because
No, that is where I wanted
because
to
I don't think that's
yes,
sustainable.
because you cannot fight corruption except you deal with the issue of poverty. When poverty is at increase, the people will want to cut corners to make up, of course, uh, ends meet. And when poverty is corruption is high, it also leads to poverty because what is meant for the people will be diverted. And that's, of course, we acknowledge the problem. Is there any sincerity or commitment on the part of this administration to tackle the issue of poverty alongside fighting corruption?
Well, you will recall that immediately this administration came on board, one of the few programs they held was the Renewed Hope, Poverty Alleviation Initiative, which was spearheaded by Betta Hadu and the First Lady. But unfortunately, it was the same program that Betta Hadu tried to what? To divert monies.
To embezzle,
To embezzle,
withdraw.
in this short period of time, because this government decided to face the poor. But here we are, a very young lady of 36, 37 years old.
Can you imagine?
I can't
You
just,
should
I
have
can't,
set
I can't
an
find,
example for the
I mean,
youth.
we are trying to gain an opportunity in the polity. But here we are, a lady who had opportunity at a very young tender age, misappropriating over 500 million naira. What do you need that for?
These are the ones that are disclosed to the public. Nobody can
No,
tell.
you are right on that, because there are so many people going on right there who are actually doing even worse than her. But I guess she was just unfortunate that she got caught, or should I say she was inexperienced in the game of corruption. Because this poverty must be alleviated, otherwise we might be run over by the poor in the near future.
Honestly, what are the expectations of you and Nigerians in uh, for the present in this cause of fighting corruption?
I think we must, as a citizens, it doesn't matter if you voted for Ashiwaju or not. I think we must, as a citizen, do everything possible to put this government on its toes. If it were to be an Atiku or an Obi, would have done the same, you know. And I think it's about time we as civilians, as citizens, grow our democratic, maturity. That we shouldn't allow politicians to keep dividing us. All we strive for is what is a good economy,